this guy owed me some money. He owed me about 100 and some thousand, and I went by his house looking for him, and I saw he had a brand new Cadillac, and I figured that he had took some of my money and brought that brand new Cadillac. So once I saw that, I went. Me and Larry went home, and Larry strapped up, and I told Larry to stay in the car because Larry was well known as a goon, and I wanted to get into the house, So I was the nice guy, and I get in the house. And once I got in the house, the guy was not there, and I stayed in the house about an hour, and the girl was calling around looking for the guy. And in the interim, we got a rule: if we be in the house no longer than like 45 minutes, the other one come and see about you. So Larry had got out the car and came and saw, and at that time, I had got upset. I was waiting there so long. I told the girl to give me the car keys. She gave me the car keys, and she decided to. After Larry walked on, let me go back up a bit because it's been a while back. Larry came up to the door looking for me because I had been in there so long. At that time, when Larry come up to the door, I had got upset. When I got upset, I told her to give me the car keys and tell the guy when he get home to come get his car keys from me so I can try to get my money. So at that time, when Larry came up, I told Larry put the house on arrest. So when Larry put the house on arrest, I'm thinking no one is in the house.
So that was a thing, like when you say you told him to put the house on arrest, that was something, y'all. That was a phrase you knew. That was like a...
That's a saying that means check all the rooms, make sure nobody else in there. He pulled his pistol. He used to carry a 44 Magnum.
So y'all did this like a military operation?
Yes.
This wasn't your first rodeo?
No, it wasn't my first rodeo. So he put the house on arrest, but it was the girl's sister was still there. And everybody was deadly scared of Larry. Larry was just terrible. But anyway, when the sister saw Larry, she shot him. When I heard the gun, out of fear, when I heard the gunshot, I knew that gunshot wasn't a 44, because when that 44 go off, it spits fire out and it's so loud. So when I saw that, I pulled my gun and I went back there looking. And when I eased back there, the girl told me, get on before I shoot you too. So when she said that, out of instinct, I pulled my pistol and I fired. I hit the girl, and I'm glad I didn't kill her. But I hit the girl because I had them splitting bullets. We had a guy that make our bullets. We had the splitting bullet. Girl fell.
Wait, you got your own bullets made?
Yeah, we had a guy to put the little nitro in them and put BBs. And my gun was different than Larry's gun. Larry's gun knocked you down with that 44. So, but the girl fell. So after the girl fell, I went around the corner, took my bulletproof vest off, and took the gun. The gun I shot with it. I put it at the end of the sofa, and I called 911. And when 911 came, when 911 came, they came into the house. The girl jumped up with blood all over. Jumped up and said, "He tried to kill me. He tried to kill me." The police threw down on me. They threw down on me and said, "Where the gun?" And they arrested me, on it. Inspector Hill was the Gil Hill was the inspector of homicide. He looked over. He came to the bullpen where I was, and he looked over and he said, "Well, I see your family on the other side now." But after I talked to Mann and told him what happened.
That's your attorney.
My attorney, Robert Mann, told him what happened. He said, "Well, if Mr. Davis is telling the truth about what happened, and we're gonna call that self-defense." But his story got to jail. That girl got to say exactly the same thing that man was telling. But anyway, I got out of that. Thank God I got out of that situation.
But it's interesting. I mean, you had the thinking on your feet and the morals to, even though you out over there get some money, street activities, the girl pulled out, you shot her. Your cousin was already dead.
Right, he was dead already, but I wasn't leaving him.
911
I wasn't leaving my cousin.
For both of them.
Yeah, I wasn't leaving my cousin.
You called 911 for both of them.
But yes, I did.
Knowing that,
I get arrested.
Yep.
And everybody thought I was stupid for doing it. I said, no, that's the thing to do. I waited there when 911 came, and I got arrested, and thank God I got out of it.
So the difference, people mistake criminals and outlaws for gangsters.
Mm-hmm.
A gangster is gangsters.
Someone has some compassion.
And gangsters are part of society.
Right.
They make up their own laws.
Right.
And create their own world, sometimes where the government is weak.
That's right. And we had our own little rules for everything. You know, one rule was if I be in the house 45 minutes without calling him, that he would come see about me. And if it was a girl, if I had a girl with me, if someone come to the car and tell the girl to come into the house, she's supposed to take off and go get help.
Ooh. And
that was one of our rules that we was taught by my uncle now. The streets of the codes of the streets. We used to pick up about $1 million.
From Seal.
From Seal or wherever he designate one of my people to go get the money.
So Seal alone.
But this time I was going to see Seal about that and maybe some other business. And just so happened I was going to pick up the money that day.
If you're from Detroit, I'm sure you're familiar with Young Boys Incorporated, YBI, and another group from that same era, Pony Down. Now, Pony Down and YBI were made out by the newspapers and street gossip to be at odds with each other, which they were at the street level, but when you find out more, the story's a little different. Turns out both groups were working out of the same bag, as they say most of the time, and most of that time, that same bag was from the Davis brothers. Now here's a quick story about that one time when Doc Davis went down to the Jeffersonian Apartments to pick up about $700,000 from Sylvester Seal Murray, main supplier to YBI, who himself was considered to be perhaps the largest H dealer in the entire Midwest by federal law enforcement, because at the time they didn't even know who the Davis brothers were.
And the only person I knew was Seal of the YBI. I didn't know Butch Jones, all the underlings. I didn't know them at all. And just one day, I was going by the Jeffersonian. He had a apartment in the Jeffersonian. It was a high-rise, very nice apartment building on Jefferson near downtown Detroit. And as I was going up the elevator, I sensed, and my gut felt.
When you say very nice, this is where maybe a high-ranking Ford executive,
right, lawyers, judges, and all that would be. It was the
place.
It was the place, the Jeffersonian.
And he was on one of the top floors.
He was on one of the top floors. Yes, he was. And I was going up there to pick up some money.
How much money?
Maybe I think it was about $700,000. If my memory don't fail me, I think it was about $700,000.
And how often would you pick up those volumes of money from someone like Seal? Once a week?
Well, once a week we used to, like I said, we used to pick up about $1 million.
From Seal.
From Seal or wherever he designate one of my people to go get the money.
So Seal alone.
But this time I was going to see Seal about that and maybe some other business. And just so happened I was going to pick up the money that day. And just so happened it was a raid taking in place. They just missed me being there, sitting there in there for maybe seconds.
You were really the guy.
Right. That was the man then.